Welcome to Hope Talks podcast with Grayson Willis and Pastor Margaret Michael, where you'll hear inspiring stories that are filled with hope and good news in Jesus Christ. You can also search for our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and TuneIn. We would love your feedback and invite you to take a short anonymous survey. You can find the link to the survey in the show notes.
Happy Easter, He is risen. Welcome to today's broadcast of Hope Talks. I'm Grayson Willis.
And I'm Pastor Margaret Michael, and He is risen indeed.
It's just great to celebrate Easter today. When I think of Easter, I think of death to life. We have some stories today for you that are just a great picture of that. Pastor Margaret, would you like to introduce our guests today?
Absolutely. They're no strangers to Hope Talks, that's for sure. Today we have Leah Wolfe with us and Nathan Carr. And welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's good to have you all back again.
Good to have you all here today. And I have had kind of a front row seat to see you all walk a journey from death to life, right?
Yep.
Like I think about, I guess I met you first, Nathan, and just remember meeting you, coming here for the first time or so, and you weren't that happy about being here, I don't think, but you were here. Anyway, it was the beginning of a relationship that's just been amazing to watch you all grow and what God's done in your life. And I know that those listening today always want to hear stories of hope, and you all have that, not just for yourselves, but now providing hope for others. And so we'll get into that a little later in the broadcast. But you all have had kind of two different ministries, and you're going to talk to us a little today about what that looks like now that you all are having vision for your future. But before we get to that, I would love to just give us a synopsis of, what your life was like leading up to coming to Christ and finding hope and healing in Jesus. And we'll springboard from there.
Basically, when I was younger, I grew up in the church and I developed a relationship with God and that foundation. And, as life started, being life and things started getting hard, I didn't really know how to cope with things. I, started cutting and, getting into addiction with alcohol, and, things just continued to progress from there. My relationship with God eventually fell off when I was about 12. I was just very angry at so many hard things that had happened in my life. I renounced my relationship and actually started practicing some other religions for quite a while. I was deep into drugs, stealing drugs, just living a very reckless lifestyle for a really long time. And I ended up in prison for 2 years. And when I got there, I was challenged in my faith. And through that, actually re-sparked a fire in me that I forgot that I had. And so with that, I started reading the Word every day. I was actually leading Bible studies in the jail. I was really just digging deep, trying to understand the whole why, and I still have never found the answer to that. But I actually just heard something the other day that it's not about the why, it's about the purpose. And so I still don't know the purpose for some things that have happened in my life, but I do know that all of the hard things that I've been through now have purpose. And so that really hit me hard. So that was the start to rebuilding my faith. I didn't figure it all out when I got out, but I did fall on my face again. And so ended up going back in for another year. And through that, I hit my bottom. I found out I was pregnant in jail. I had my daughter in jail, had to go back to jail. And that broke me down in a way that I never thought I could be broken down that low. And I told God, I never want to feel this again. I was like, please help me. I don't know what I'm doing, clearly. This is it. I fully surrendered. I thought I had before, but I didn't. I was still trying to control, this, that, and the other. And finally just said, okay, you show me which way I'm supposed to go, because I'm not very good at navigating this life thing by myself. So when I got out, I really just hit the ground running with recovery and rebuilding my life, rebuilding relationships, and rebuilding myself really was a really big key that he helped me through a lot of inner healing with a lot of just people that he's put into my life. And through that, I really felt like he was laying on my heart about a year being home, that I should start something a little different. I had been to 12-step programs. I had been to all of those things. And I just really felt like I needed just a community, something simple. And he told me, he was like, well, then start it, And so I was very nervous. I talked with pastors at Grace Covenant Church, where I had been going to church since I'd been home, and they agreed that they were going to let me start this small group. Yeah. And it was very, very small in the beginning. There was 2 people that came the first night, and actually one of them still attends to this day. And this year will make 5 years that New Life Recovery has been open. And it's way bigger than 2 people now. And it's been an absolute blessing. It has helped me grow so much. I used to be terrified to talk in front of, I was so scared the first night with 2 people, just to talk in front of people. And now I can get up in front of the church and, say, I'm still nervous, but I can say, talk about my life and be vulnerable with thousands of people versus being nervous to share things that weren't vulnerable with 2. And so the Lord has really brought me so much healing through this group. And I've watched people grow. I've watched people fall, and I've watched them get back up. And it has been an awesome experience. And he has provided all of the little things along the way to continue this group. So he's restored relationships with my family and brought me friends that I never really thought I needed, but now they're here and I don't know what I'd do without them. So, and he has healed me with a lot of broken relationships that I've had with Nathan Carr, who's also here. And he came into my life, and I wasn't having it for a long time, but I finally gave in, and I'm glad I did. It has been quite the journey. I still had some healing to do, and he's been incredibly patient with that. But I asked the Lord for a lot of single attributes of a man one night, and it was like that next week he sent me a message, and I remember telling the Lord, I didn't mean right now. And I was a little flustered with it, but I think the Lord knew that I needed pushed to actually heal from some of the things that I was carrying. He knew what I needed. I didn't. I was resisting, but it has turned out to be great. And now we both have this similar vision for our future and are working together to build that. And yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a blessing.
Yeah, it warms my heart. I know your story, but just to hear it again, and it's so true. We find healing in helping others. Sometimes, like we do it because we feel God calls us to that, but in it, he honors us by healing some of our own wounds that we didn't realize what community could do, and how we know that Jesus heals, but the community of believers is a great place to find healing and hope. And so today, here we are, we're talking about New Life, right? And you were just mentioning that's the name of the ministry where you've been at Grace Covenant. So, Nathan, you have been quiet for a long time.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, you did good. I'm impressed.
I am too. Yeah, so we have pretty similar stories. My grandparents were church founders, and my grandfather died, and my grandmother married another pastor, so I knew what church was about. Whenever we lived in Tennessee, I was raised in Tennessee, and used to go to church with a friend of mine, him and his family, and my mom worked a lot, so I was with them a lot and doing church and activities, Bible school, stuff like that. So I was really into church when I was younger, and high school come along, and middle school came along, actually, and that kind of changed things. I started dabbling with drugs in 8th grade, and once we moved up here, I'd really gotten addicted and started selling drugs to provide for my habit, and fell in love with the addiction of the money and the excitement and everything that came with it. And it had me hooked, and it was totally different lifestyle than what I was used to when I was younger. Just like Leah, I went to jail, ended up getting busted, and had to pull a little bit of time, nothing like she did. But during that time, like I said before on here, there was a kid. Well, he wasn't a kid, but I still call him a kid. He'll always be a kid in my eyes. But he was reading the book of Job at night when we were on lockdown, and it really resonated with my life and my story and how things were going in my life. I didn't realize the outcome was going to be like Job's was, too. It was really cool to have that being spoke to me at a time so dark, and realizing, I had all this stuff, and, what I realized I didn't have was God. Yeah. And July 7th, 2017, I finally found God. And in a jail cell, crying on my hands and knees, begging him to help me. And from that moment on, things changed and continue to change every day. But, once I was released, showed up here, met Pastor Margaret. She probably didn't know what to think of me at the time. But, I come to Celebrate Recovery here at the Nazarene Church, and I really enjoyed being around people that was like me in my past. And seeing how God had changed my life let me know that these people, if they stuck to it, that they would be able to change their lives too. And, seeing the church support, and, I've had multiple churches supporting me over the years, Mount Clinton Mennonite Church in particular. They took me in. If it wasn't been for Wilmer Lehman, I would not have gotten out of jail. He and his wife gave me a place to live, and the judge granted it to me to be released to them. So I owe them for a lot. Still to this day, he's so helpful. But just getting back to being a part of Celebrate Recovery, I started working the steps and got to the point to where I was getting ready to do a step study, and I had to go back for my sentencing hearing because I was out on bond, and ended up getting sentenced to another 9 months. So during that time, I read the Bible from front to back, and everything in the back of the Bible, who published it, I mean, you name it, I've read the whole book. And I started doing a Bible study all by myself, and just really digging into it, doing devotionals every day, started praying with guys and stuff like that. So it was real encouraging to be able to do that, and for God to give me that time to really dig into His Word. I needed it. So, I've told people time and time again, being incarcerated saved my life, and it gave me a new life through Christ. And so I've been blessed with that. I've been in leadership here now for almost 7 years, close to it. I've been clean in less than 2 months. It'll be 7 years. So, not had any issues with that. Doing leadership here led me to wanting to venture out into more things, which joined with VMM and did a Transcend program with them for a year.
That's Virginia Mennonite Missions.
Yes. Yeah. So, I did the Transcend program with Virginia Mennonite Missions, and did that for a year, and was asked to sign on for another 2 years and do the Transform program with them. And just started my second year of that. And so I've had a calling to go beyond that. I was wanting to be able to help people like me that I knew were still struggling, and that maybe that I could reach out to. And so I wanted to figure out a way to open a Christ-centered men's recovery home. And that has been a challenge that Leah has been very helpful with, and Pastor Margaret as well. Multiple churches in the community, a lot of companies and organizations. Everybody's just been super helpful in supporting that. And so we're official. We got Resurrected Ministries approved as a nonprofit this past October. And, so we're moving forward, trying to build the ministry, gain supporters, and get to the point to where we can finally open a home. And eventually we're going to try getting a home open for Leah, for the women as well.
I think that's really amazing. And I love that part of your all's story. Did you all know each other back in the day?
So we figured out, we were talking on the phone one night, and she started telling me about my old house that I got busted in. And I let her come stay there. A friend of mine at the time knew her, and she needed a place to hide out from the law and probably some other people. And so, we were just talking, and she was like, aha, I remember now. And so we realized that we knew each other, and she had been to my house and, things like that. I provided safety for her, and I still do. Yeah, it's really cool how God had us together then and has brought us back together. And, it's like she said, I didn't even talk to her when she was at my house, I don't think. Yeah. I was all in my own world. But just to see how He's brought us back together and put us both in the same type of ministry, and the love for Him that He's given both of us. And it's been amazing.
The love for Him and the love for others that struggle.
Yeah.
And that's been the beautiful part of watching, and to see, and to know that Leah was wanting a home, right, to really minister to the women, and you were wanting to minister to the men, and just seeing how this can come under under one nonprofit.
Yeah.
And you all could work together instead of doing these two different things. It just, when you think about from that day, hiding out, does God have a sense of humor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good night. Oh, yes. Yeah.
I was thinking too when you were talking about how y'all were trying to figure out if you all knew each other in your past.
Yeah.
But thinking of death to life, the old is gone, the new has come. So yeah, you knew the previous Nathan or the previous Leah, but y'all are two different people now. So God has a way of redeeming people's lives and bringing back totally different than when y'all knew each other the first time.
Yeah, what's the odds of her having new life and me coming up with Resurrected Ministries? You got the resurrection and the new life. Everybody knows that
Easter
goes hand in hand.
Sunday.
And on Easter Sunday.
You have to have a death to have a resurrection and have new life.
Yeah, we definitely both died. And probably should have literally died.
Yeah.
God had plans, obviously, and yes, he does have a sense of humor, because the more I think about it, the funnier it is. You know, the names of our ministries and conjoining into one. It's so fitting for what we're doing.
So you all now are working, in tandem. It's one. It's not two different ministries that you're looking at. Tell us, for people that are listening today, kind of let us know where you're at in that process, because I have a feeling that there might be people that would really like to be a part and would like to get updates and may have someone that they love that they could use you all praying for, or you all reaching out to. Because I've sat here listening to you all today and I thought about who's listening that has a child or a loved one in addiction that has maybe given up. And you all are God's masterpieces, as we all are, but you all are a picture of what God can do with a surrendered life when you say yes to accepting him as your Savior, but then surrendering your whole life. And God doesn't waste a hurt. He restores what the locusts have eaten. He has things planned for us that we've never thought of or imagined. And it doesn't mean that it all goes smooth and that everything has went perfect, even in trying to come to a place of having a nonprofit, but we grow in that. And I've saw even in some of the bumps that you've hit, Nathan, they've been defining moments for you where I've watched you grow deeper in your relationship with the Lord. So, talk to us about where you're at now and how people could support you.
We come to a point in our relationship, we're engaged, and we're looking at this as a big picture of why are we trying to run two organizations that has the same purpose and the same meaning and the same end result. And so we've decided that we would join our ministries together. Those of you that know me know that was not easy for me to accept. But, God is working on me on some things as well. But it's something that I feel is going to benefit both of us in the long haul. There's no sense in us trying to do this separate when we are a team. And, I've been going to New Life Recovery for 4 years, roughly. I've recently started getting into position to where I can start helping her there as a co-leader. I've always worked with the men, being in leadership. Anytime there's issues with the guys or they need somebody, they know they can rely on me. So, we've already been working together since day one. Ever since we met, we've worked together. The first time we ever really hung out together, she helped me paint my house, so it's just, we work well as a team. We understand each other very well. So we decided that, we need to join this and, make it one big picture. And, she's putting a lot of her stuff on hold to help me because of us being a lot closer to opening a home. And then the goal is to, in return to her, and help her get a house for the women and stuff like that. So we're blanketing New Life under Resurrected Ministries nonprofit. We're working together. We've got accounts set up. You can donate to her account for the women's home, my account for the men's home, which is all under Resurrected Ministries main account at Parkview Credit Union. And, so we're just trying to get things established. She has a team, I have a team, and we're trying to make that one team, and sometimes that's not easy to do. And we've got gaps to fill. We really are interested in people who have a heart for what we're doing, and this is a Christian-based organization. And, so we're really firm on who we allow into the scene and to help with our teams and things like that. You have to really be in it for the glory of God and nothing else.
That's right.
And so we're taking on new members. If anybody's interested, they can reach out to us. But we're getting there. We're getting closer to being able to do things with a home, and, we're getting ready to start fundraising and stuff like that. We have donations coming in, but nowhere's what we need. And, we can always use donations. Prayer is very helpful. Yeah. I've seen prayer bring in a lot of money, and we did that here at our mill. So we know God can make things happen, and so we're trusting in Him that it's in His timing, and so we're just kind of stuck with what we have for now, and taking on more as we can take it.
Always the support for New Life Recovery over here. I'm going to throw that in there. New Life Recovery will also be a requirement for the houses once they get open.
Yeah, and so we'll celebrate recovery.
And so we'll celebrate recovery. But with that, also looking for support for New Life Recovery as well. We're always looking for testimonies, people to come share what God's done in their own life. We're always looking for anybody that has a heart for cooking. We provide meals every Thursday for about an average of 20 people right now. So I typically cook this meal every week. So when I get food donated, I'm a very happy person.
Makes my life easier.
Yeah.
So she gets
makes everybody's life easier. But I do also enjoy it. It is part of the giving back that I've actually become a very good cook because of this. So I'm not going to say that no benefit has come from it. But anything like that, I'm always looking for help with transportation as well. There's a lot of people that are in recovery that have issues with no ride. Right. They don't have money. They don't have a license. They don't have a car. Being able to get people there is a really big key. We'll be able to get people from recovery houses in the Valley. We've figured that out pretty well so far. But if you have somebody that wants to come, bring them. The group's always open. Doors always open.
What time does that meet?
It
meets
where? At Grace Covenant Church. It's on Emmaus Road behind DMV in Harrisonburg. And we meet in the pavilion in the back from 6:30 to 8:30. There is a website, and it's www.newliferecoverygcc.com. And that has group updates, more information about the group, and immediate contact links that come straight to me. So that's a way to reach out to us about any of this, really. All of that comes directly to my phone. So, yeah.
Nathan, if you'd like to share the website with us for Resurrected Ministries, if they want more on that, and also on New Life Recovery.
Yeah, so it's resurrected.ministries23@gmail.com.
We're currently working on the website. So
we haven't gotten a website done for that yet.
It takes time to get all that together.
Yeah. Yes. So we're getting there. We're working with a guy with some marketing and stuff like that. So we're crossing off all of the things that we need to do. And it's a long process, and so we can take any help that's out there.
Yeah. It is a process, and it doesn't come together really quick. But I will say, you got your nonprofit status. And how long did it take?
So our lawyer has been doing this. His whole family has been doing this for over 40 years. And we got the fastest return that they've had in 40 years. It was less than 6 months.
And I think that, 6 months is amazing for nonprofit status. And that just, to me, was such an affirmation on the ministry that there was nothing, it didn't seem like there was anything holding that back from happening. Yeah. And so, and to have a board, you have a support team through VMM, and you have a board. And I know, because we talked about this beforehand, like you would be excited to have some people that were feeling led to be a part of a recovery ministry and to help kind of lead and guide that as board or as your support team through VMM. So please reach out to Nathan and Leah. And obviously, New Life Recovery is happening on Thursdays, and there's needs there too. If there's ministry, usually there's a few things that you can do for the ministry. And so I don't want to miss that if while someone's been listening today, they've felt that nudge, you know what, this would be something I've always wanted to do something like this, or I feel like I have this gifting, I can fundraise, or I'm a detail person and I can help a strategic or whatever it might be. Yeah. Like those things are needed. And so if someone feels that nudge today, I'm just going to encourage you, if you're listening, to reach out and see if there might be a partnership in ministry. Even if you don't feel that qualified, but you're feeling like there was a nudge, God knows. And he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. That's the saying, right?
Very well put. Because I am out of my league. And God has definitely shown me the right way to do this and has been the main center of all this. So if you ever feel him calling you to do something, be obedient and do it.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Nathan and Leah, anything in closing that you all would like to share about the ministries or your own lives that we haven't asked you already or that you haven't shared already?
We come up with a 4-phase program that we're going to do. It's going to be a year-long program. The first phase is going to be more just getting them settled in, kind of like a detox type portion for the first little bit, just to get them, out of that jail mentality and prison mentality back to, somewhat of normal life. Start working on building their relationship with God, teaching them about Jesus and things like that. That's going to start from the get-go. And then the second phase would be, they'd have more liberties as far as the phone, be able to get out and start working. We've got a few companies and businesses that are willing to hire these people to help support the ministry and to help give these people a second chance, not just little piddly jobs, but like legit careers. And, so we've got a lot of support with that. So we'll be working on that phase with them, help them get bank accounts opened up, get their license back, transportation, start working on all these things. And then the third phase would be more of getting them prepared to be released back out into society as a follower of Christ and with a new life. Be able to survive out there and, keep them going on the straight and narrow and things like that. So that'd be kind of the third phase. And then the fourth, a particular property that we're looking at, if we are able to get it, which we've been working on for almost a year now. So that's been a struggle. But if we are able to get it, we have room to be able to have men stay on for that fourth phase and be able to get back to the program and be able to start mentoring others and helping others, that's coming into the program. And it would be kind of a self-pay part of the program. We're still working on things with probation and parole and stuff about funding for people coming straight from jail that they send to us. They do provide funding with things like that. So that's kind of a rundown of how the men's house will be. I think that's pretty much what Leah's looking to do with the women's house. But yeah, that's what it looks like,
Yeah. And one of the things that I wanted to add that I feel like is really different from a lot of things that are going on is that the case managers that we are going to employ are going to come up with a personalized recovery plan, because one thing I learned in recovery is that we all recover differently. It's not the same cookie cutter piece that worked for me that is going to work for Nathan or the next person down the road. So I think that's really key, is to learn where people are coming from and then help them dig themselves out, because not everybody's in the same place when they come in. Somebody could be coming from jail, somebody could be coming off the street. We don't know, and we don't know their past and what they're carrying. So I think that's one of the most unique things that I really am excited about, because it's going to personalize it. It's not just going to be go through the institution and go through the steps and get it done. Yeah. It's going to be in your business. But that's what's needed, really. You can't recover from a place of pushing all of these things back, because this class in particular is standing in the way of me going and seeing a pastor, because I really need to talk to this pastor right now. A lot of programs aren't going to let you do that. They're going to be like, no, you have class first. And then, I'm not just using a silly example, but, one of those things, if you're in crises, we're going to hear that. We're not going to be like, no, I'm sorry, this is more important. Yeah. This is part of your program. It's about the people. It's not about the program. But the program is important to keep us all in line.
And realizing the trauma that we've all faced in our lives, it does take a specialized, it's not cookie cutter, and it doesn't happen on our time frame. But being aware of that will make a huge difference when they realize that they're not just pushing me through a program, but they really care about my situation and where I've come from.
Yeah, we've got, so it's, we said we'd incorporate Celebrate Recovery and New Life Recovery on a weekly basis with the guys and the women. It's going to be mandatory that they get these Christ-centered recovery programs. We'll also have, the in-house counseling and things like that. We've got pastors that are willing to come do one-on-ones or group sessions with guys and help mentor them and things like that and disciple them. We've got professional counselor that is willing to come provide services for us once a week. We have the suitcase closet, things like that. We've got medical lined up. We've got a lot of stuff lined up. Yeah. It's not just going to be you're there and you're not going to do anything. You're going to be busy, and
sure.
So, yeah, we're going to offer a lot more than what I talked about. I know we got a little time.
Yeah.
So,
Leah and Nathan, thank you for joining us today on this Easter Sunday to share your death to life story and about your ministry. We pray blessing over that also.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to today's broadcast of Hope Talks. We pray that as you've heard us talk with Leah Wolfe and Nathan Carr today about their ministry, that it truly has been a half hour of hope for your life. May God bless.
Hope Talks is sponsored by Church of the Nazarene Harrisonburg in partnership with Sunshine Ministries.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast of Hope Talks. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe for updates and the latest episodes. Also, if you're in the Harrisonburg-Rockingham County area, we invite you to listen on the radio each Sunday at noon on 1470 AM or 102.1 FM WBTX.